All right, kind of wrapping up spring here. Second to last practice, one more Saturday. Really like the guys' competitiveness, how hard they're working out there. A lot of battles for positions, and it's been really good. So excited for Saturday, and just obviously unusual timing with portal, and we're still in spring practice. Kind of like the season, what happens, but so a lot of stuff going on there with visitors here, while we're still practicing, and our own guys obviously in conversations about that stuff. So just is what it is.
Questions? This is a little bit off topic, but there was obviously a big story coming from Tennessee this last week in terms of alleged NIL contract negotiations and a holdout. Maybe not specifically speaking on that situation itself, but just the situation in general. What does this sort of thing mean for college sports?
Well, I think that could be a lot of things within that answer. I'm not really going to comment much on that because I don't know all the details, and I think that that happens a lot with media, with fans, obviously nowadays, with how quickly things are put out, or somebody says something from an unnamed source and all those things, and all these comments are made in this instance about a kid, and we don't even have the facts to know if the stuff and the narrative out there is even true. So I don't think it's really fair to take shots at him when all the facts and details of the situation aren't out there and seem to just be more in favor of the program side, which we're able to have a big voice as a program when a kid leaves or something, because we get much more access to the media and controlling the message than the kid does. So I don't know the details in that, so I think it's a little bit unfair what's going on, especially because I hear the other side that those details that are out there are not accurate.
You mentioned balancing the portal while spring football practice is going on. The quarterback room got an addition with Trinidad Chambers. Y'all signed him. Kind of the evaluation with AJ kind of down with the sling right now. That quarterback room, a little thin, but you've added somebody. Kind of what do you think about that room now with him brought in, and what kind of was the evaluation for him?
Yeah, we're always trying to make our roster more competitive, every individual position group more competitive. We've done that in the past, especially with quarterback. It's worked out really well for us. It makes the other players better. And so we were able to do that kind of in a strange circumstance where someone, because the Division II was already in the portal, and in my opinion got a head start on that versus waiting for this portal and then everybody else on it, and what that market's probably going to drive at that position, I think will be extremely high. So glad that we were able to get that done because it makes the room better. And AJ was doing a really good job till the injury, so we're very pleased with him.
I don't know how much you've had time to pay attention to this because it's pretty fresh. I guess you saw the NCAA kind of, implemented kind of the tweak to the rule as far as, injuries and the timeouts that kind of come along with it. Wonder if you had any comment on that.
Yeah, I didn't even get information from that from SEC or NCAA yet. I actually saw that this morning on social media, so I don't know enough to comment on that.
I think we're finally getting taught to Deshaun Stribling. I know you're very high on the wide receiver room as a whole, but he was one of the early ones y'all landed. What did you see in him?
Very competitive, really tough, kind of Mingo-ish that way, strong, physical. So really glad that was a huge concern, going into the offseason, losing so much in that room. And I thought we did a really good job in that, and turned the room over really well, and added some really good players in there. So really pleased with that room and how those guys are working really hard, and the culture of the room too.
Sort of about the Tennessee thing, but is that something you have to have conversations with your staff or even with your team about how Ole Miss would treat a holdout? Like how would you treat that situation if it were to happen?
Yeah, again, I'm not going to get into that too much because I think that's the narrative that's out there of what happened. And I'll just say I've talked to the other side of that, in Nico's side, and it's a very different story of what happened. So I don't think it's fair to comment on that or to say that that's exactly what took place.
Has there been, as far as young players like AJ's brother, Andrew Maddox, defensive tackle, has come in and played, and he's kind of showed out, any other guys like that maybe mid-year enrollees that, yeah, you're giving them evaluation, but they really jumped off and shown you something so far for the last 4 weeks?
I don't know specifically on that. I think there's just been a number of guys, and we just move guys around so much trying to find things, and some guys hurt, and just really trying to focus on getting the players individually better. So not a very good answer for you on that. Sorry.
Secondary, kind of where you're honing in this last half of the portal window and looking, is that the position of most need for y'all, you feel like, coming out of spring?
Yeah, I think that's kind of strange to comment on, but it's a very fair question. Like, what portal needs as we're got still another scrimmage coming up Saturday. So fair question, but I don't know that that's beneficial for me to answer.
As far as the scrimmage on Saturday, what are you looking for out of that? Kind of what's the just general focus for the coach? What do y'all want to see from the team on Saturday?
Just seeing how individual players finish, knowing that this is their last kind of shot for a while to put their resume on film. So see how they react to that.
This is kind of off topic too, but there's some conflicting information out there just about whether Jackson is or is not going to attend the NFL draft next week. I was just wondering if those plans have been made to your attention. I know you've been pretty busy, but I guess, do you think about that?
Yeah, he's informed me what he's doing. I don't know. That's really my position to say that, and I don't know what's out there. So he's made a decision what he's doing, and there's a lot of different reasons why people do and why they don't. So it's probably a better question for him. All right, thanks.